This is a kind of a little instructional video on how to knot a brush with a knot that you've acquired from, a retailer, or that fell out, or whatever, however you acquired your knot. And obviously you'll have a handle that you've acquired somehow, whether it's a vintage or this happens to be a Whip Dog 24 millimeter. And what happened was the knot had fallen out. I had used coins to pick a height, and I actually didn't like the loft. It was a little too high, a little too floppy, so I felt it getting loose. I soaked it and then I just popped the knot out. I used a Dremel to try to rid myself of any leftover epoxy in the cavity and in the on the plug here. So a couple things to point out. As you can see, I've done several of these myself, and I actually prefer a more shallow loft. It gives me a little more density for the knot. They're all roughly the same height. Some guys measure with calipers, other guys don't. But so how do you go about doing this? Well, first of all, you want to make sure you can dry set it. By dry setting, I mean get your knot situated in there, feel how it feels. You can adjust the loft in several ways. Some guys use coins. I found these washers. They're about 2 or 3 mil. I found these on Amazon. I think for a bag of 100 it was like $8. I'll find the link and put it below in the YouTube description here. But that would provide a nice, and it's hollow in the middle so that the epoxy will set around it. And if that was your desired height, which this is too high, you can see, but if that worked for you, then I'd say go ahead and do that. But with this, I would do a 2-part set. I would set the nylon washer first, let that dry thoroughly, and I would coat the washer once it's in place, or I'd just put a dab here of the 2-part epoxy, and then I'd get it down here. So I'm going to do this full bore here. I'm actually not going to use that because I want it low, like I said. What do I have to do it? This is an unopened one. This is DevCon 5-minute epoxy. As you can see here, it says water resistant. Some guys prefer silicone. Some people use marine epoxy. I already have one that's almost used up here, so I'm going to use that one today. This is Loctite. DevCon makes it. I find that if you go to like a dollar store or Big Lots or any of those bargain type brick and mortars, you can find 2-part epoxy quickset pretty quickly and pretty cheaply. So I usually use a paper plate to mix it, and having a young child at home, I'm lucky enough to have colored and regular popsicle sticks for crafts lying around all the time, and I find these do well to mix and then apply a little bit and then set. So I'm going to get started here, and I just remembered I have one more tip and I forgot the piece, so let me be right back and grab it. So one thing I do before I set a knot is I will make sure all the hairs are up, and then I will put an elastic band around it. Not too tight, just tight enough to hold the hair up and ensure that it doesn't fold back into the cavity area where you're going to be doing your set work. Looks a little stupid now, but that'll fan right out once you pull it off later. So that's how you set it up. Again, if you need to use this, I would glue this in first, let it dry 5-10 minutes, probably 10 minutes, be safe, and I would glue this and do it that way. But for today, we're just going to go right in there like that. So it's kind of tough working behind the camera, but we'll get through it. So this is one of those double pumpers. You just pump a little bit out, and then mix it, and then you're ready to rock and roll. So that will be more than enough for the project here. Again, it's relatively cheap enough to, you don't want to short yourself, let's put it that way. So then you just mix it up. You can see it went from a clear on one side and a yellow on the other to more of a lighter yellow, and it's pretty easy. That's ready to rock and roll. So the one thing you definitely want to be careful of is you don't want to have any leak up here into your bristle. So I usually start right in the center here, put a little bit. I like to spread it, make sure nothing's hanging off the sides here. I'll grab just a little bit more again, make sure nothing's on the sides of the of your cavity here, and nothing's on the side of your plug. And you don't want to leave too much, because remember, when you push it, it's going to kind of move everywhere. So I think that's good. Again, make sure you got no hangers on the side here. Pop the knot in, and then push it down. I usually set it here and hold it for a minute just so it doesn't move at all, and then you can let it go and then just leave it off to the side for about 10 minutes. We'll come back here and show you the finished product shortly. Alright, so we're back. It's been about, I don't know, 10-15 minutes, but it's in there tight. We'll remove the elastic band, fan it back out, and there you have it, all glued up, ready for some soap and some water, some fun. So there you are. Hope that was helpful to someone. I know a couple guys have been asking about how to go ahead and do it, and there you have it. Everyone have a great day, and if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks.